We're going to keep an eye on that live and stay up on the picture because it's pretty remarkable what's playing out right now as we bring in our panel. Theron Bond, a Democratic strategist, and Bobby Eberle, who's a Republican strategist. And Theron and Bobby, we appreciate you both being here. Bobby, I want to start with you because it's just big picture. Not going to pretend I know a whole lot about what SpaceX has been up to. I try to keep up on it. It's fascinating to watch. But what I'm most interested in the political context right now is the mind of Elon Musk, who's running X and Tesla and SpaceX and advising the president-elect and putting the transition together. Oh, by the way, he's going to run this thing called the Department of Government Efficiency and try to, cut some spending and rein in government. Your thoughts, Bobby?
Well, Ed, it's great to be here. And you actually turned to the right person because in a previous life, I was a rocket scientist at NASA for 12 years. So seeing these clips and seeing what Elon's doing in the private sector to get Americans into space and continue that, that new frontier. I mean, this is part of what makes us human. Our DNA is to explore and to search out and to see this happening. Among all the other things that Elon's doing, I mean, he's just a mind on the go, right? A genius of our age. And what he'll do with Doge and with Ramaswamy, I think, is so needed. Part of what we saw in this election was people fighting back for a government that represents them, we the people. And I think he's going to come in and cutting these programs and returning that money. And just government efficiency is so needed, and he's the one to do it.
Yeah, it seems like a fascinating situation specifically with Musk, and in the broader context, obviously, Theron, is that it's happening during a presidential transition where Democrats, like yourself, unhappy about the results, but there is a moment here where both sides are looking at what comes next. What are your thought process here as you watch Elon Musk have such a prominent role in Donald Trump's transition back to power?
I think we have to separate this moment from who Elon Musk is every single day. This moment is fascinating where we have come in this country with regards to space exploration and people setting actual foot on the moon and other things is fascinating. But when we talk about the day-to-day of Elon Musk being effective or not in a presidential administration, that leaves a lot more to be desired. There's something to be said about some of the companies that he's bought into, and there's something to be said about his company's practices, and all are not positive. And so there is right to be concerned about if he is going to take the practices of the companies that he's a part of currently and how those will filter for the general American public. Hopefully he will be better with what he does for the entire country versus the individual practices of his companies, because those are not by and large favorable.
Well, I think that's obviously, there's some debate on that. There were a lot of people on the left upset about X at the beginning when he took it over because Theron, he was pushing people out and they were saying, we can't do this with 80% less personnel. And Bobby, X not only did that, they've now thrived. They've become an open area for free speech. I know the left is not happy, Bobby, about the fact that maybe the Hunter laptop is no longer suppressed like it was in the 2020 election, for example.
That's right.
I'll give Theron a chance to respond to that in a moment. But Bobby, there are a lot of Americans, I suspect, like yourself, who think Elon Musk has done some entrepreneurial magic that has opened up free speech and is now thrusting into space in a way that the federal government has failed in recent years to do.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't disagree with those comments any stronger, because this is capitalism at its best. There's new statistics that came out that said prior to Elon, Twitter had a 2-to-1 left-wing to conservative population on the platform. And now it is basically balanced. It represents the American people, 48%, 47%. He has turned that around to the true and maybe only free speech platform with its community checks and people fact-checking each other. And what's so refreshing is that some people that post and get corrected, they actually come back with new information. And guess what? You have a discussion, you have a dialogue, you have a debate. And so for him to bring that to that platform and show that you can run a company with 20% of the staff that you had before, that's a great sign, too, for what he can do to government efficiency and returning control and money back to the American people.
Darren, a fair chance for you to respond on that point about using a lot less people at X. Folks on the left were saying he's going to destroy X when they've been maybe just as efficient or more efficient. Couldn't he do the same with the federal government and wipe out some bureaucrats and maybe make this federal government more efficient?
Well, I don't think we can say that Twitter, or what is now known as X, is being efficient or that it's running smoothly. There were a significant amount of staff that were either fired or forced to be fired or left on their own because they weren't happy with the practices that Elon Musk was allowing to happen. And even still now today, there are so many people that are purging themselves as being members of Twitter, or X as we're calling it now, tens of thousands at a time. And they're going to other social media platforms. Yeah. Why? One of the main reasons is because free speech does exist, but it seems to be a bit slanted because free speech does not give anyone carte blanche to slew racist tropes up and down anyone's timeline without going unchecked. And that's what we see a lot happening on X, and there's proof of that.
Well, but Theron, pardon me, I'm not seeing racist tropes up and down my timeline on X. So I have to just say, put that on the table, number one. But number two, you're saying that it's one-sided. Wouldn't you agree that in 2020, the Twitter, before Elon Musk, before it was X, was completely slanted to the left and they were censoring news? It wasn't really a place for free speech, was it?
With all due respect, I would imagine that you may not see racist things on your timeline because you're a white male. But if you ask black men, black women, brown women, what they see on their timelines, in their DMs and private messages, it looks real crazy and real shady. So I won't call it censorship, because if someone is using a derogatory term, they deserve to be removed from a platform, period. It doesn't matter who it comes from. Be very clear about that. But right now on X, Elon Musk allows those things to happen, and he allows them to go unchecked. And that's inappropriate, especially for someone of his magnitude to allow happen, which is why people are leaving that platform. Yeah. And so when we talk about free speech, it can't be one-sided. It can't be that Republicans want to be able to say whatever they want to whoever they want and talk about being censored when they do, but then they get upset when black people talk about police brutality and they march in the streets, when brown people talk about pro-Palestine and marching on college campuses. Well, which way do you want it? Do you want to allow free speech, or do you not?
Well, hang on. I don't know which way you want it, because I see a lot of people marching on college campuses pro-Palestine that are pushing anti-Semitic tropes. So you've got to look at racism and religious bigotry through all the lenses. And I don't know you well, but I reject the idea that just because I'm a white male, I don't understand racism on social media. I apologize, and I feel bad if, in fact, you've had that on your timeline. That should never happen to anyone. I want to be absolutely clear about that. But Bobby, you get the last word.
Yeah, well, I just have to say, based on that logic, you'd have half of the legacy media shut down, because on MSNBC, they just called Pete Hegseth a white supremacist, and another network called Tulsi Gabbard a Russian asset. So, I mean, these are things that go on the legacy media all the time. And there are community guidelines on X that don't allow you to do that. If someone gets in your personal space, like a direct message, you can block them. There are ways to do that. But this is the freest platform that we have seen, especially coming off of 2020 when there was overt censorship against conservatives. This is so refreshing to see now.
All right. Bobby, Theron, we appreciate your time today.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.